Welcome, everyone. I'll call the meeting to order on this day of February 10th, 2025. This is the City of New Ulm Park and Rec Commission meeting. Welcome, everyone. Why don't we start with welcome to our guests who are here with us tonight. And why don't we start with introductions? Cheryl, let's start with you this time.
Cheryl Corman, staff.
Jim Jensen.
Kurt Johnson.
Amy Johnson.
Carissa Bugler.
Jeff Golden.
And Joey Schugel, staff.
All right. Welcome, everyone. All right, let's move on to your agenda. Agenda item number 3.1, approval of the agenda for today. Looking for a motion to approve or a request to amend.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion has carried to approve the agenda. Now we have the approval of the minutes. They were not in our packet today. There was just a technical error that led to that, so they are presented. I'll give everyone just a minute to take a brief preview of the minutes.
And commissioners, just a quick update on that. They were in your packet depending what browser you were in. We were just having issues with
Maybe it was just
Google
me.
Chrome for some reason not showing them, but if you were on Edge or Firefox, they showed. So we'll try to get that figured out before next month.
Maybe I'm the only one that didn't see them.
I
Okay.
did not see him.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, or the minutes, excuse
The minutes, okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from our January 13th, 2025 meeting. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion has carried to approve the minutes. Moving on to the city council meeting recap. A recap was included in your packet.
Thank you, Chair
Dr. Schugel.
Bugler, commissioners. Just pretty quiet based on our schedules of city council meetings and our meetings. So the only update I have is from the January 21st meeting. The service agreement with Front Burner Sports was approved by the city council, which you approved in January as well. I will touch on a few more updates that have happened since with a kickoff meeting in our staff report related to that. And then there was no Park and Rec related business at the February 4th council meeting.
Any questions related to the city council meeting recap? If not, I will look for a motion to receive and order filed the city council past action report.
I'll move that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion has carried to receive and file the city council past action report. We do not have any old business, so we'll move into new business. Agenda item 7.1, the New Ulm Baseball Association History Center concept. Director Schugel, I'll turn over to you, and we do have some guests who may want to address us as well tonight.
Thank you, Chair Bugler, commissioners. As you may recall, last April during a work session, the New Ulm Baseball Association first presented the idea of a history center at that Park and Rec Commission work session at Johnson Park. Since that work session, the New Ulm Baseball Association has worked on putting together a concept and some images with that and some plans. And also investigated desired locations and which is on the hillside of the third base bleachers with access off of German Street. So now the New Ulm Baseball Association is looking to take the next steps with that process and looking to privately fundraise for that facility within the Johnson Park facility. I do want to point your attention to the images. Here are two images of what this could look like. I want to say that the Baseball Association did have some early feedback from the city. When we first heard third baseline, we were concerned about sight lines. With the grandstands over here, is that going to block left field, block the scoreboard, block some of play? The New Ulm Baseball Association has taken that into account, and with this design accurately solved that issue. One other thing, if this continues to move forward and fundraising efforts are successful, the city and the New Ulm Baseball Association then would have an agreement in place for operation and maintenance. So the goal is for the city not to have any cost associated with this facility. This is a facility that, with the intent of the New Ulm Baseball Association operating and maintaining throughout its life there. So we would look to put an agreement in place in writing that would come to this commission if we got to that place.
Just a clarity around what you just said is, when you say end of life, is it through the depreciation of the building or long-term, or is it a 20-year contract?
Yeah, so great question, Chair Bugler. So end of life maybe wasn't the great phrase that way.
Sure.
A building can last far long.
Right.
Throughout an agreement timeline.
Okay.
And we'd probably look at revisiting that agreement
Mm-hmm.
more frequently than, a 20-year cycle, just to make sure it's good for the city as well, and there wasn't some unexpected costs that we didn't see within that agreement.
Sure. Questions?
So just in general terms, the Baseball Association will own the building, and we would just give them the ground to put it on? But they
No,
would own
yep,
it,
another
build it,
good
maintain
question,
it.
Commissioner Jensen. So the facility would be owned by the city since it would be on city property. But it would be privately fundraised and privately, all costs associated with construction and operation maintenance would then fall on the New Ulm Baseball Association.
Good question.
And the reason we do that is someday if the New Ulm Baseball Association would fold and hopefully the city doesn't fold at the same time, I wouldn't expect that, but the city would have to take on, then on their
Sure.
property or would have to have it removed or,
City would probably have a little insurance cost though.
And that's one thing we'd look at the agreement if yes, it would affect our insurance because it's another facility on our property. But we could ask the association to add it on their insurance as well.
All right. I see we have a guest, Mr. Skillings. I don't know if you'd like to address the group or anything you'd like to share in addition to what Director Schugel has shared with us. Okay, come forward.
Thank you, Director Schugel. Welcome, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. One thing I would like to bring up is there, there's talk about operating the facility. And I'll just let you know that New Ulm Baseball Association is probably one of the best organizations in town for volunteers. And, we host several tournaments each summer, and we've been in business since 1939 and have run by volunteers that whole time. So this would be a new element for us, but I think a very exciting element in terms of New Ulm Baseball and the New Ulm Baseball Association. And I don't think we'd have a lot of trouble in operating the facility and doing that for many years.
Any questions of Mr. Skillings?
Skills, can you get to the ballpark or the stands from this drawing? Or from these buildings?
Yes. So from the third base bleachers, there would be a ramp that would be, what is the term,
ADA?
ADA compliant. So from the ballpark, you could get to the deck.
Will that be locked routinely, or how does that work? I don't know.
You mean the building?
No, that ramp, I mean, to get back and forth.
Not during a ball game, I don't think.
Oh, no, yeah, okay.
Because the viewing deck that's on the ball diamond side, that would be used for ball games, for the fans. The official entrance of of the History Center would be from German Street.
Yeah, I understand that. I was just wondering if somebody at the ballpark could get into the construction here, your museum or whatever, from the ballpark.
You mean when it's being constructed or after it's finished?
No, after it's finished.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, we would want fans to be able to access that building when ball games are going on.
Just a question I had.
Thank you.
Bob, would that be open year-round or just during baseball season?
So the reason we want it on the third base side and we want the entrance on German Street is so that we could have it open year-round, and we wouldn't have to open up the ballpark in the off-season to be able to get access to the facility. So there'd be a separate entrance from German Street.
Well, and then that ramp would be locked.
On the ballpark side, of course. So we're at street level with the entrance from German Park or from German Street, and so the access for handicapped would
Right.
be there. Yeah.
It's a big project. And, and will be really, I think, a great asset for New Ulm, but, you're operating a business, really. I mean, it's going to have customers too, but people coming in and out, and I think it will enhance that whole area. Are you working hand-in-hand with the chamber at all about this, or not really?
The chamber is aware of it, but at this point, we haven't collaborated.
I would think that would be a real good thing to, when they
I agree.
promote New Ulm because New Ulm's all about baseball, and as we said before,
And we are a chamber member, and we work with the chamber with the tournaments that we host. And so at one point, we were trying to get the state high school Class A baseball tournament, and the chamber was very involved in that process with us.
And this is, I think I asked this question one other time, but this is not, this is the city, but you'll kind of welcome the county, all of Brown County for memorabilia and things like that. And is that true, or did I miss that?
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
Right now, the Brown County Historical Society has a great baseball history of Brown County on access on their website. There's a lot of detail there, and they had an exhibition at one time. It was actually right around the time we were going to host the state tournament. It was prior to that. I think maybe 2019 is when the Historical Society had an exhibition in the museum, and it was excellent. And so they put that online that anyone can access now. And you go there and look, and you see some of the history. That's what we want to be part of this facility is to show that history, and to keep it fresh as well. There's so many stories. There's a lot of good history, not just New Ulm, but the area as far as baseball goes. And so our goal would to keep it fresh.
Will there be a charge for the general public to get in when there's not a game, if you're just in town and you want to go through? Or is there no charge at all?
Well, we haven't gotten to that level of detail at this point. My thought would be that there would not be a charge. If you charge them $1 or $2 or $5, I'm not sure how much money you really do collect. And that, so with our ball games, the Brewer baseball games, we used to charge $3, and we noticed that fans would come in the fifth inning when we weren't charging anymore, and we thought, hey,
Interesting.
if $3 is
Okay.
if that prevents people from coming, so we've dropped our admission cost, and I think that would be the case with the History Center as well.
I'm sure you'll do a comprehensive business plan and lay all that out, and, because that's very important that you do that. I'm sure you will. So, I think it's exciting. It'd be a nice addition.
Thank you. So if commission would, approve the concept at this stage. We've made progress since last April, as you can see with the designs, et cetera. And so we need to take that next step for fundraising. And so having the approval of the Park and Rec Commission, I think, would be important.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you, Bob, very much for the volunteer hours that you also put into this and for kind of fulfilling a dream of the New Ulm Baseball Association. So appreciate
Thank you.
that. All right, any further discussion or questions? I think we heard the concept, the purpose of the space, potential timeline. So what we are being asked today is, again, just approving the concept to just carry on the conversation with the city of New Ulm and New Ulm Baseball, just to continue to move forward with planning so that we can get to probably a final decision on what the partnership may look like going forward. So there's no further questions or discussion. I would be looking for a motion to approve the concept of having a history center facility at Johnson Park.
I'd offer a motion to approve the concept and, take the necessary steps to make sure everything's done right.
Okay,
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Approve, same sign. Opposed, same sign, I mean. Motion has carried. Okay, thank you, Bob, for coming tonight. We appreciate it. All right, moving on to agenda item 7.2, the Prairie Lakes Arts and Cultural Heritage Grant Request.
Thank you, Chair Bugler, Commissioners. This is a request for staff to apply for the Prairie Lakes Regional Arts Council Art and Cultural Heritage Grant specializes in arts and music festivals. And we're looking to request $6,000 if allowed, and that money would go towards the summer concert series. Reminder, summer concert series used to be Monday nights. Last year was the first year in '24 that we moved those to Thursday nights in German Park at the amphitheater. In addition to funding that with our partner KNUJ, funding bands, it would also go to promotional materials along with other free activities that go on throughout those Thursday night concerts.
Is that enough money?
So Commissioner Johnson, our concert series, we've been really fortunate over the years. It's a free concert series to fans, but our bands have been really generous and have played for free. And even with this grant award, some of those bands would still play for free because they want to give back to New Ulm, like the exposure and just a free night there. But it's getting also harder and harder to find a new variety. So some of this money would go towards that. These grants aren't designed to be large grant amounts. So we kind of looked at that 6,000, which would break up, at least cover costs for musicians traveling, but then also be able to fund some of our free activities that we offer in the park at the same time as well. Puppet Wagon is there weekly as well as Rec on the Go.
Well, I think it's a great idea, and it's really outstanding. And I want to make sure it can say free.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yes, and along with KNUJ and the city of New Ulm, we've been committed to this. I don't have the exact number of years, but we're going on, I think, close to 40 years of this free concert series in New Ulm.
Wow.
How did the change in days affect, if at any, affect the concert attendance?
Great question. So we heard really positive things. Mondays, what we continued to hear Mondays is a busy night where there's a lot of activities going on, and it's a start of a week, and sometimes a 7:00 Monday night concert is just tough for families and stuff and anyone to go down there. So trying to move it into Thursday, create more of an event, maybe start a long weekend with a summer concert. We didn't see a drop in attendance. Usually what fluctuates attendance is who the band is, frankly, or the weather. The weather's always a huge one. It's been pretty hot at times, you know, and in the last years, and or if we get rain and move indoors, that really affects attendance.
Or the gnat and mosquitoes.
Or the bugs.
Yes, yes.
Well, I think it's a great deal too. I mean, you see people down there, we've been down there and enjoyed it, and it's a nice gathering, you know, it makes it kind of a homey feeling, and fun to see some of these bands that maybe you haven't seen for a while, or a younger group that's want to be showcased a little bit. I think it serves a lot of purposes. Plus gives, you know, makes New Ulm a little more interesting. So, good deal.
Any further questions? Otherwise, we're looking for a motion to authorize the staff to submit a grant application to the Prairie Lakes Regional Arts Council for the summer concert series.
I'd make that motion.
I'd second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hear none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion has carried. Moving on to agenda item 7.3, the LCCMR grant request for the Pollinator Park.
Thank you, Chair Bugler, Commissioners. This is another grant request through the LCCMR, which stands for Legislative Citizens Commission on Minnesota Resources. And this is state-funded directed money. And the goal of the money is to conserve, preserve, or enhance Minnesota's air, water, land, fish, wildlife, and other natural resources. And so we've been working on it in 2024. Myself and ISG and our pollinator volunteers worked on a concept for expansion of the Pollinator Park. Right now, the Pollinator Park sits on 2.64 acres of kind of the focused developed area. There are 22 parcels that the city owns directly abutting that 2.64 acres that are 20-acre parcels that we'd be looking to develop if this grant area would be awarded, or this grant money would be awarded. And I did include the concept of what that would look like potentially in the packet. Let me minimize this. So if you see now, this is the current pollinator area, but these two parcels are 28, make up 20 acres of already city-owned land. The city actually owns much more land on the other side of the bike trail here, but that's in the floodplain. So we're looking to focus on that 20 acres there. And some of the ideas with this concept, now it's just a concept at this point, were provided in some images in your packet. And really our goal is to get some nature-based play down there. When you think of the Pollinator Park, it's a fantastic area for preserving our natural resources, teaching the community about native plants and pollinators. And our volunteers do so much hard work down there and put in so many hours to do that. But we're missing kind of a further connection where we can maybe get youth more involved by providing nature play. So there's some concepts of potentially what nature play looks like. On the other part of that is with Charlock Estates right there, it would be a great connection with that neighborhood right across the street and providing more park type amenities for that neighborhood right there. So again, these are concepts. If awarded, it doesn't mean it would look like this, but this money's out there. This project, in my opinion, would score very well. It all depends. There's $103 million that the state has to give away. So our ask is for $246,000. It will be one of the smaller asks, I think, that a lot of communities put forward. And the application is due March 19th, and then if awarded, this is for projects to start after July 1 of 2026. So then we'd have time for that more specific design and looking back at the concept, adding some other features like a picnic shelter, native prairie development, and also clearing out some of the invasives in the area as well, and have a fresh restart in some of the
When
areas.
is the application due for the initial?
March 19th.
Okay.
And Director Schugel, of the about $250,000 budget, what would that potentially fund? Is it just kind of that one area that we saw, or would that do a picnic shelter and others?
Great question.
Concepts?
So I'm going to point it out here and then
Okay.
I'll talk in the mic. So section A here. A and B and C would be the phase one focus
Okay.
of the areas. So that would include that nature-based play area, potentially a picnic shelter area, in that kind of where B is. And then more trail development. There are trails down there, but further trail development. And then continuing with the huge piece of education. So having that educational signage and, we have a goal of telling the story of the monarch butterfly and its life cycle within that area or throughout the park area, which could be a really unique feature and do some sculptures and some really cool things to make this both a neighborhood serving park, but make this also a community and regional attraction.
Guessing maintaining this would add onto our staff to maintain the area.
And that's a great question as well. So our staff in this area is already doing things in this area because the bike trail runs through here. We're doing some of the trail mowings. Our volunteers are putting in countless hours of this. And yes, adding things and enhancements like this would for sure add to our maintenance of the area, but we are down there already and on the trail corridor.
For our newer commissioners, a couple years ago, we did an assessment of the community, and we looked at different neighborhoods, and we looked at where all the parks were located within the community, and there were a couple of areas that we felt like we didn't have as much opportunity for the families or children or individuals who live in that area to have a park or a gathering place that the city would offer, like a park. And so the Pollinator Park was born, and it's been around for some time, but this wasn't exactly the area, but this was one of the areas that scored really highly given the number of families who might be living in this area, especially children who have a lot to gain from a space like this. And that area of the community has seen some growth as well, so it would definitely be an asset to that part of our community as well.
Additionally, one of the great things about this funding as well, so many times there's matching requirements of 50-50. This does not have a match requirement, so this would be all state funded.
Any additional questions? If there's no additional questions, I'd be looking for a motion to authorize the staff to submit a grant application to the Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota resources that would fund enhancements to our Pollinator Park.
I'd make that motion. This is a really great thing. We've been to the Pollinator Park. It's really outstanding. Good use of this property, too.
I'd second that.
We have a strong motion and second for this. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion has carried. Our best of luck to you as you and your team write this grant. Thanks, Director Schugel. All right, moving on to agenda item 7.4, acceptance of our donations.
Yes, thank you, Chair Bugler, Commissioners. A couple donations this month, both from the Isaac Walton League. The first one is for the Riverside Environmental Learning Center, $2,000 towards programming and general supplies for that facility. And then $5,000 for the Sioux Valley Gun Club trap range, and those dollars would go towards a potential new building, as the city and the Sioux Valley Gun Club are working towards looking for funding sources for that, a new facility out at the trap range. So $7,000 total. So thank you to the Isaac Walton League for their generous support.
Absolutely. Any questions? If no questions, looking for a motion to recommend to the City Council offer a resolution and waive the reading to accept those donations that were just presented to the City of New Ulm through the Park and Rec.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion has carried. Moving on to agenda item number 8, reports from commissioners and staff. We'll start with commissioner reports. Do we have any reports from the commissioners tonight? Hearing none. We will move on to agenda item 8.2, department activity report. Director Schugel.
Yes, thank you, Chair Bugler. Commissioners, a few things to point out from the month of January. So with the mild winter in terms of less snow, not so much in cold, our staff was really able to continue to hit our ash tree inventory and remove, both remove stumps from ash trees that have been removed previously, but also hit new ash trees in our parks. We also have, that I touched on last month, an RFP that will be awarded soon that will go towards more ash or removals in our parks. They also, maintenance staff was also repainting park signs. So if you're around and see our park signs, they look really good, as well as many of our historical signs in our parks. So they were able to get refreshed. Assistant Director Corman put together another graph this month to show you the meals at the community center. That orange line on the activity report there on that graph shows the amount of meals that went outside the community, and also the amount of meals monthly that program serves. And then one other thing I wanted to point out is you'll look at the rec center memberships. As Assistant Director Corman indicated, that's a deceiving number with snowbirds and the changeover from a lot of our supplemental insurances at the first of the year. Until they come in for the first time or renewed, aren't showed accurately in our numbers there. So that those will come back up as either snowbirds return to the community or others come in and we get to renew their insurance. Any questions regarding the activity report?
The meals are being provided on the community center. Are they coming in frozen and then reheated? Has it changed a little bit?
That is a new change that Lutheran Social Services has closed a number of kitchens around the state and now operates less kitchens, and then those kitchens provide frozen meals to communities. And we're one of the communities now that get frozen meals.
Is that back? Are we doing that down here now again or not?
That's what's happening right now. So the frozen meals, and they use our kitchen for storage for that. We have the walk-in freezers. We have a great kitchen for that. They chose to use a Mankato kitchen versus ours. But still providing that service to the community, however, as you can see in the meals that were provided in January.
Any further questions? Hear none, look for a motion to accept and file the Park and Rec activity report for January of 2025. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion has carried. Moving on to agenda item 8.3, the staff report. Director Schugel, again.
Chair Bugler, Commissioners, wanted to give a few updates. The Civic Center sees a lot of tournaments throughout the year, but right now it's Rec Center. At the Recreation Center, we're seeing large tournaments. So just within the past few weeks, the Rec Center hosted a large gymnastics meet, had the first weekend of New Ulm Basketball Association's 2-day boys tournament, and next weekend we'll see the girls tournament. So our facility is a desired use for that association and sets up really well for what they're trying to get out of it. It was a busy weekend, and we anticipate another one on Saturday for the girls tournament. Our Park and Rec Master Plan update. So RFP closes on Friday of this week. There's been interest from consultants. I've received a lot of phone calls and had some short meetings just to clarify some things in the RFP for consultants. So I do suspect that we will have, we'll be well represented with the proposals that are submitted and have options on that. I wanted to highlight at the end of February is National Invasive Species Week. And working with a community volunteer and the city on putting out some information around invasive species to citizens in the community, not only about parks, but all for private property and really why it's important to try to control our invasives in our community. So look for more information coming on that for that week. And then I did want to touch on a kickoff meeting with Front Burner Sports. So as you recall, Front Burner Sports is the consultant that we've retained for naming rights and sponsorships with the city. We had a kickoff meeting last week, went very well. They're very excited to get started and right now we're at the stage where we're gathering more data in the community and we're providing them all this information so they can put together then proposals that they feel match what we have here. So there will be far more information coming up. One thing I wanted to note on the service contract is on the first page, which we approved last month and City Council also approved. So there were 6 facilities listed on our service contract, and it was worded as the primary city assets to be evaluated. So just looking at those, one of them on there was Miller Park, and I do want to note that Front Burner Sports will not be evaluating Miller Park for naming rights or sponsorships. This agreement is designed to look at our whole system, and we notated 6 facilities. Miller Park was on there to start due to the advertising we already have down there and our agreement with New Ulm Baseball Association, but no intent to look at changing Miller Park's name or anything like that. So I just wanted to point that out to all of you overall though, but we may have consultants reaching out to some of you if to gather information. They're looking to get in touch with more community members, and like I said, I'll have more updates as we go throughout this process. It's a 1.5-year process, but I suspect really in the next first 3 to 6 months is when we'll have more updates for all of you. And then lastly, I wanted to, or first off, any questions on that kickoff meeting with Front Burner? Okay. Lastly then, I did want to highlight the city recently celebrated employee milestones for years of service. And this included Park and Rec staff, so I do want to take time to celebrate our department employees who had a milestone. So for 5 years, we had Kyle Keen, who's a full-time maintenance worker. Mike Sandwick is also a full-time maintenance worker. And Jason Tom, also, who was a custodian, also their 5-year anniversary with us. And then we also had Josh Altman and Patrick Bakken, who are both skilled laborers who are part-time employees for us, regular part-time employees who qualify for this. And then at 10 years, we have Rachel Sturm, who's a fitness instructor. And then 15 years, we have Sarah Seifert as a fitness instructor. So appreciate all of them and the time they've put in, committed to helping our department do what we do. And that concludes the staff report.
Okay, excellent report. Any questions for Director Schugel before we move on? Okay. I'll look for then a motion to accept and file the department staff report.
Don't move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion has carried. Agenda item number 9, date of our next meeting will be March 10th, right here at 4 p.m. Is there any further business? Hearing none, I will declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.